Shalom, Israel. This is Sister Kana. And first and foremost, I want to give all glory and praise to AHAYAH, Bahashim Yashaya, Wa. Okay. I am back. Praise AHAYAH. And I'm back with the part 2 of Let Me Put You Up on Game and how to navigate outside of Babylon. Um, So I'm sorry I had to make this in 2 parts, but what I will do is create one video and put all this information together. And that way, when people contact me, I will send out this video as a guide, to help people start to, prepare for what is needed, um, you know, and what they kind of can use as they come out of Babylon. Okay. Now, there's something that I want to talk about before I forget, because I always forget this very important part. When you're coming out of Babylon and you come into Jordan, but I'm going to speak for Jordan, but I'm sure this goes on in other countries as well. But you have to be very careful when you come out of Jordan and you get housing, you get an apartment. This is very important, and a lot of Israelites have gotten in trouble based on this one thing. When you come out, the people are very nice, they're very accommodating, and they will help you, okay, for the most part. What has been happening is when you come in and you'll sign a lease, maybe 6-month lease to 1 year, because they lease out their apartment. Some people will do month to month, but usually if you got a decent apartment, they will really want you to sign a contract for 1 year to 6 months or like that. What happens is that a lot of Israelites try to skip out on their lease, on the contract that they sign. This, brothers and sisters, is a huge no-no. Do not play around with, your lease and your contract. Make sure you pay out everything before you go, that you don't really have any problems with the landlord. Do not have anything under your name like that, because what happens is that when you go try to book another apartment, or when you try to leave or travel or anything like that, you will get kicked out of the country, or you will not be able to come back in. And this has happened to a lot of Israelites, and they won't tell you that this is what happened, or this is what they did, because it's really usually Israelites being naughty. They try to be slick, they try to get over on people, and we coming out with that Babylonian spirit on us, thinking we can kind of get over on people kind of thing, and not skip out and pay and not pay. And this, or you just run out of money and now you don't have the money and you don't have to pay. I would suggest, brothers and sisters, you work the situation out with the landlord. They usually will, be very open and kind with you. You can't pay, and if you owe them money, go back and pay what you owe. Don't try to skip out and leave and, not handle that, because it will come back to bite you, because this is the one way that they, get to regulate the people who are coming to, visit Jordan. This is one of the ways. So do not come to Jordan or any country and play around with the lease that you have, breaking the lease, not paying the money, because it's attached to your passport. And when you try to leave or re-enter, they will put a ban on your name. And this happens to a lot of people. And the thing about Israel, they don't want to tell you what they've done. Everybody's trying to act like they're nice and holy and they're doing the right thing. But that's not the case a lot of the times. People are playing games. They think they can come and skip out and, owe people money. And this is the one way and the one thing that you cannot do in these countries. It will come back to bite you, and it will come back to haunt you. And you will either not be able to come back in the country, or you may not be able to leave, and you may end up going to court. They will put you in jail. Some of the times it depends on how bad it can be. So I urge you, brother, and this is something I should have said early on. And, I'll try to reiterate this, some more times as I make videos, because I always forget to warn our people. not to come out playing games, not, trying to be slick, trying to get over. Because, first of all, again, I have to say that we are the people called for by the Most High. We are supposed to be a holy example. But yet our brothers and sisters will come out here and, do all kind of things. I've heard about people stealing, gas from the building that they're living in, like it got cold and they didn't really have any money, and doing things that's like this that would really just mess up our reputation as a people. Now, how are we going to come out, trying to give Gentiles the law, and we coming out doing all kind of wickedness and acting even more wicked than the heathens? How? So, Israel, we really have to get ourselves together in that regards. And there's a host of stories that I could go into about that stuff, but I'm not even going to go there. But I'm just saying, brothers and sisters, please do not get yourself into those type of situations. Be upfront with people. Usually the people are very nice. Now, so this is another point I want to say. A lot of the time, these people are very nice. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying everybody is, up and up. And not saying everybody is good. There are always, in any country, any part of the world, there's always some bad people. And you do have to be careful and watch out for what you do. But for the most part, on the whole, these people will buy time with you. If you say you're going to do something, they will take you at your word. And they will, if you say, you're going to do something, follow through and keep your word. And I know that's hard for a lot of us coming out of Babylon, because people are lying, people are playing games, they lie to themselves, they lie to other people, and all in the act of them trying to act like they're holy and righteous. I'm talking about our people. So then when you turn around and you're dealing with these Gentiles, you expect people to believe that we're the holy people and we're righteous and this and that, but yet you got all kind of wickedness going on. Those kind of contradictions, people will tend to lose respect for you. People will tend to, not want to help you. So Israelites really need to be careful when they're coming out of Babylon and the things that they're doing and the things that they're saying. Either they're not lining up or it's just straight unrighteousness. And this, you cannot be representing the Most High coming out with a whole bunch of foolishness. Brothers and sisters, let's just be clear on that. And I think I really needed to, talk about this and let brothers and sisters know, when you get into these African countries or these Middle Eastern countries, these people ain't going to play that. In America, it's built on wickedness. There's a lot of wickedness, kind of do as you will kind of thing. And not that these other nations are not as wicked, but Babylon the Great is Babylon the Great. And the Bible speaks of the wickedness that's there. So it's far more wicked than a lot of other places that you will visit. And I myself, I've been to Egypt, I've been to certain, surrounding countries, and I find that these people are relatively, not all, are really nice people. You know what I'm saying? They're good people and they will help you. Now, Jordan happens to be the peaceful country. That's why AHAYAH said within his borders that he will protect this country. Is not only because it's just a nice country or it's the safest country in this region. The Most High has his hand on this area because he said within his borders he will protect us. So there's always been a level of peace here in Jordan. It's not controlled like a lot of these other countries with violence and all this other stuff. If you notice, Jordan don't have those things going on because I believe it's the hand of the Most High here. He's going to keep it calm. He's going to keep the people at a certain peace so that his people can come here and be at peace as well. I'm not saying it's perfect, and I'm saying that these people are like holy and righteous in any way, because we are the children of Israel. We are supposed to bring the righteousness. We are supposed to bring the truth. And, we're going to, put forth the Most High's commandment to the whole earth. So that's more than any reason for us not to be coming out here playing games, stealing, lying, causing any kind of ruckus. We just cannot do that, brothers and sisters. And not only can we not do it because it's just not right, the Most High is not going to have it here. And that's also talking about any kind of sin. We have to put that sin that we've been used to doing in Babylon, little things that we've been getting away with in Babylon, we will not be able to get, away with it here. Now, right now, we're still under grace, but we know eventually we will have no grace when we get in that wilderness. And people will be, dropping like flies at a drop of a dime. Praise AHAYAH. Bahashim Yashaya. Shalom. Anai Yashaya Israel. Shalom. Let me see. He said, that's a message. Or she says, where is the book that Daniel 12:4, Revelation 5 speaks of? Okay, let me see. Where is the books that Daniel 12:4 and Revelation 5:1 speaks of? Okay, I'll go back to that after I, finish up, because I don't want to lose my train of thought. Okay, so I'll come back to that question, but shalom, and I'll get to it. Okay, I pray I can answer it for you. Okay, so I wanted to say that, I wanted to bring that out about housing and apartments, that once you sign a lease or, for an apartment, 3 months, 6 months, or whatever, stick to the lease, do whatever you need to do. And once you leave the apartment, make sure that you leave it in good standing. For one, because you're representing AHAYAH, or your AHAYAH, and you don't want to, give these people or Gentiles any reason to, look at us in a way that now when you try to come back and bring them the law, they cannot receive it, because you wasn't acting righteous and holy before, and now all of a sudden you want to talk about the law. Okay, so we have to be very careful of the example that we put forth in these other countries as we come out, because the scriptures say we are ensign. We are assigned to these people. A lot of these Muslims, they know a lot about our prophecies. They know who we are. So we're assigned to them. So we cannot come out with a mixed message, brothers and sisters. It's just not conducive, and the Most High is not bringing us out, for a bunch of nonsense and confusion. So I wanted to talk about, say that, and really reiterate it. Make sure you take care of your business. Now, a lot of people, they're coming out, they don't have money. There's a lot of issues. So that's why you should not get yourself into a situation that you cannot handle. Like, it don't make no sense to sign a year lease with anybody if you don't have money to cover for the year, or you don't have some kind of employment, you're not receiving money from the states. Now sometimes hardship happens where you had money coming in and then all of a sudden it stops. These things will happen, and brothers and sisters, I also have to say that we will be tried and tested in these kind of ways. I know I have. Like, I've say didn't have any money, and now I'm wondering where money is going to come from. Now, you have to try to figure out, try to have other streams of income working so that you can, in case one thing falls through, you got something else, to cover, and things just happen. Or you may just be tested for a time. It happens to all of us, where you may not have no money and you don't know where your next meal is going to come from, because the Most High is testing Israel. He said he's sifting through Israel and trying to see who is here, really about him and willing to worship him. So I'm not going to sit here and say that things don't happen and your faith will not be tested. And it will come down to you making the right decisions. And which brings me to my next point. Hi, how are you? Yeah, I'm on the video talking. Here's Noah.
Hi.
So
It's what?
Yeah, I'm live.
Live, okay.
Yeah.
Sandra is the best. East, West, Sandra is the best.
Hey, thank you, Noah.
Peace out.
And that's Noah. Thank you. See you. I will talk because I haven't seen you in a while. That's Noah, and he's like one of my partners, and we actually do some shows. He does DJing as well. So that's another story. Anyway, so my next point, gosh, I didn't want to lose my point. Oh, it was about decisions. The choices and decisions that you make. This is huge, brothers and sisters, because it goes within the testing, us being tested. The Most High said that we will be tried and tested through the fire like fine gold, right? So we know that there's a series of tests, even though we know we're going through Jacob's trouble. In that, there will things we will be going through to see if we are even worthy. The Most High said, no one is saved until the end, that we must be found worthy. And I will post a lot of these scriptures in the description box. So bear with me with that. And if I forget, you can leave me a message and I will try to remember. But we will be tried and tested, brothers and sisters. So your choices and your decisions are very, very, a very, very big factor in how you navigate, through this journey that we are about to embark on. A lot of us, we still thinking in a Babylon mode, in a Babylon state of mind. So our choices are usually, and our decisions are usually based on what we think we know or what we were taught in our captivity. But brothers and sisters, that's why it's so important that we must come back to AHAYAH and learn his laws, his statutes, and his way. We must get into them scriptures and dissect the scriptures to understand our power. It's on us to seek and find him, not for him to seek and find us. And I think I spoke on this before because, overall there's an awakening. AHAYAH poured out his spirit. So we're all on some level have been affected. We're waking up. We're starting to realize, things. We're in the age of information. This internet is giving a lot of information. And based on that, we're waking up to the truth. Some of us are not even waking up. So he said, be blessed that your eyes can see and your ears can even hear at this time, because a lot of people are not waking up. But the fact that there is an awakening going on, that does not mean when you choose to do something that you're choosing with the Most High. You got to make sure that you make the right choices, that you make the right decisions, because a lot of times we are working against AHAYAH. We actually will be at war with AHAYAH in a lot of circumstances with the choices that we make. And you won't realize it until it's too late, until the Most High has poured out war on you. And you're wondering, oh my gosh, what did I do? Why did I do that? And you're thinking that you did the right thing just because you're judging things based on your understanding, instead of really, really fasting and praying and finding out whether you are in line with the Most High. And I'm going to tell you why. Like David, our forefather David, when he was king, and this is just a small example. I don't know the exact scriptures, but I will bring them out. I know the story, okay? When he was king and he did a census, he decided to do a census and he counted the children of Israel, which the Most High did not want him to do. Now, he thought he was doing the right thing based on, his decision. He knew the Most High was with him. He knew the Most High loved him, but he went and did a census, meaning that he, I think it's called a census where you count, the people. And he did a census and he counted the children of Israel. But the Most High did not want him to do that. And so it was a sin to the Most High. And he ended up chastising David because of this action. Now, David thought it was just something he thought, it came to his mind and he thought to do it. So he didn't think that he was going to actually be at war with the Most High based on his choice, based on his decision. And this happens to a lot of us. And I know it happens to me a lot of times that I think most of the time that I'm so in line with the Most High sometimes that I'll just go and step out and do something. Now, a lot of times I'll even pray about it. I'll ask the Most High. He may not have necessarily given me the answer, but I think that's because I prayed about it and I'm going forth with it out of my mouth and I'm asking that's good enough. No, brothers and sisters. We must wait on the Most High to give us an answer in order to do something so that we know for sure that He's in line and it's according to His will. Because everything we do and everything we think is not according to AHAYAH's will. And this is big. This is huge. So I'm going to say it again. Not everything we think and not everything we do is in line with AHAYAH. And sometimes you'll be making a move or a decision to do something, and it will be against AHAYAH. And you will find that you will be at war with AHAYAH on something. And you think that you're doing, you think you're doing the best thing, just like our forefather David did. Okay? So you have to really be careful, brothers and sisters, on the decisions that you make. Just because you want to do something and you feel it's the best thing for you to do does not mean it's in line with AHAYAH. And in turn, you will be at war with AHAYAH on something. And you will see no blessings. Nothing good will be moving. And then you start to wonder and you only wonder if you're really paying attention to the Most High and know how He deals with you. Some people, they don't even really pay attention to what the Most High is doing and how He deals with them. So they don't even know when He's at war or when He's upset about something or not. Because you never really be paying attention. You ain't really praying that much. You're not really fasting. So you don't really know what is pleasing and what's not pleasing to the Most High. Okay? So you don't even know when you're working against what the Most High is doing half of the time because you're really not paying that much attention until something detrimental happens. And now you're at the point where, oh my gosh, something is wrong because you know that the Most High is not blessing you. You would not be in this situation had, if everything was going right. That's when you realize like, oh my gosh, something is wrong. But it's been too late. You done did what you had to do against him, and now you kindle the anger of AHAYAH. So I'm saying this to say that, brothers and sisters, your choices and your decisions are very important. You cannot keep making bad choices, bad decisions, and then expect you to be in line with the Most High. And another thing about that, your bad choices and bad decisions is, brothers and sisters be making bad choices, bad decisions, and then they want to come around other Hebrew Israelites. They want to be amongst brothers and sisters, knowing or really not knowing that the Most High is at war with this one person. And there's many scriptures like that where somebody sinned against the Most High in the camp while the children of Israel was in the wilderness, and nothing was going right. They couldn't get nothing done. They start crying out to the Most High, and then the Most High had to reveal to Moses or Aaron or one of them that there's a person in the camp who actually sinned against him. And unless they put that person out of the camp, they're not going to be blessed. They're not going to be, nothing is going to move in their favor. And trust me, brothers and sisters, this is actually what's going on amongst the children of Israel right now. And people don't even know it. Like they are so not in tune with AHAYAH that they don't realize that you're actually at war with the Most High and you don't even know it. Now that's really deep. And I didn't really mean to go into this, but this is so important. This is why Sister Connor is always on these videos talking about the holy days. Make sure the last day is a holy day and the first day is a holy day. Keep the holy days at the right time, because listen, if we don't keep those holy days at the right time, we're making a profane day a holy day and a holy day a profane day. So then we're not keeping the commandments, we're breaking the laws, and we're actually, working against the Most High. We're actually at war with him. And then people don't understand why nothing is going right. Nothing's going right. Again, I'll give you another example. Just like with us marrying outside of Israel, married to Gentiles. This is an abomination to AHAYAH. Nothing will go right with the children of Israel until we get this thing in order. And I don't care how much people feel like, oh, we got time. A lot of people just really don't understand how much we are at war with AHAYAH because of these laws that he put in place. Really, he put them in place for a reason, so that he can differentiate. The Most High put his laws and his judgments and his ordinances in place, so he, as our power, can differentiate who is his and who is not his. So you'll have some people who look like Israel and you think they're Israel, but really they're not Israel. So they're not even bound by these laws. And another person will be looking at them thinking, well, okay, well, they're doing it, so they seem to be okay. But they don't even understand that this person is not in the covenant. They know who their father is, or they know that they're not in the covenant, but they look black. They look like they're of the 12 tribes, but they're wondering why this person, they're doing whatever they want to do. And you sitting back as an Israelite following them in their wickedness and don't even understand that you are at war with AHAYAH. It's so deep, brothers and sisters, how, a lot of people really are not paying that much attention, and they really don't care. But a lot of people are not bound by the same covenant, and you don't even know, and you just looking at this person and seeing them just because they have the same skin color as you, thinking that they're black. So you just following. You're following people, and instead of following the Most High, you following people. So that's just deep in itself, and that's a whole nother video, really, because I could go on and on and on about these type of cases of stuff in the Bible, laws and judgments that we have and we have to follow, and that you may just be watching somebody else and you think that they're Israelite, and they already know in the spirit they're not even bound. They don't keep the laws because spiritually they're not bound. Can you hear me? They're not into it like you because they're not part of the covenant, and you don't know it because you basing everything on because they look black. And that's far from it. We are spiritually bound. We are spiritually bound. Once you the Most High calls you and he wakes you up, your spirit is supposed to bear witness to this truth. And as you start to get around other Israelites, if you see that some people just don't really care, they don't even have the spirit to keep this thing going, then you must come to the realization that they not really, obviously, are not Israel. And you're supposed to be able to move accordingly, move away, but so many of our people are so lazy. They don't even care about the laws of the Most High. They're not even trying to keep the laws. They're not bound by these laws because a lot of them, not everybody who's Israel or say they Israel is not Israel. And you really need to start paying attention to those things. So when it really applies once you start coming out of Babylon and you start fellowshipping with other people, and you just notice that people really, they don't really care. They don't care. First of all, they don't even care when they keep the holy day. They don't really care about the holy days, the Sabbaths. They off on certain things. This should be a red flag for you, for those who are bound by the law that's in them, in your inward parts, and you're trying to do what's right, but you steady seeing people, they don't really care. And they'll be going into the scriptures, reading the law. We in Shabbat, You'll be reading these things with them, and then they'll still go turn around and do the same thing, breaking the law and don't even care. That should be a red flag, brothers and sisters. Because anybody, just like Paul and Peter and different apostles say, they are prisoners. You become a prisoner to the laws, the statutes of to AHAYAH Bahashim Yashaya. You become a prisoner, like you have no other choice. You bound by it. You have to do what's right. Your conscience won't even allow you to go that far off. So why is these people, brothers and sisters, so willingly and so eagerly can just brush off these laws after you'll sit with them and read the law, and they still don't care? Like it's like, okay, this is where it starts to become a narrow road, brothers and sisters. This road becomes very narrow. So please, I'm bringing up another point, but based again on the decisions and the choices that you start to make as you start to come out of Babylon, as you start to come into your feet start touching and walking on holy ground. And now you are bound by the law, but you may, be fellowshipping and be among other Israelites who seem like they don't really even care. The road becomes narrow. It becomes narrower. And what I find too, that a lot of Israelites, they based on this awakening, they based on coming out of Babylon with how many people they can fellowship with. That's another issue. Needing to feel like you have to be fellowshipping with a whole bunch of people in order for you to feel like you're whole or you're being righteous, or because many are called, brothers and sisters, and few are chosen. So you'll find that a lot of Israelites who calling themselves Israelites, who say they are Israel, are not Israel. Why? It's not because based on their skin or how they look, or they wearing fringes, or they keeping their head covered. It's not. It's about the fact that is this law in your heart? Are you trying to please the Most High? Some people like, but no, see, they going now you're going too far. Like they be calling people super Hebrews, and they trying to be holy. See, this is when this line starts to be drawn. When you start being around people when they really don't care about the laws. They don't really care about what they're doing and how they doing and how they moving, and as a reflection to AHAYAH and Yashaya. Okay, so these are the things you have to really be mindful, brothers and sisters, as you start to make your way. Just because you're around people like to gather a whole lot of people to them, and they don't really care. It's like one big party. So it makes them feel comfortable because they got a whole lot of brews around them. But ain't none of them set to prepare for the coming of Yashaya. Ain't none of them preparing for that marriage. They ain't even thinking about Yashaya. They're not even thinking about preparation. They're not even thinking about going into the wilderness. Petra and going to Kadesh is the last thing on their mind. And most of them already know that they ain't going. They'll give some excuse that why we ain't got to go. Some people think that they can go around, through the Dead Sea area and go straight into Israel because they have no, they have no, nothing in them is thinking about being purged, trying to become new creature in Yashaya, trying to do anything righteous and right. They laugh at stuff like that. They laughing at you for trying to even thinking that trying to be righteous and holy. It's funny. They clowning you. So it's not even a thought. But again, I say the road is very narrow. It's a narrow road, brothers and sisters. And everybody, he said 2/3. So that means out of three people, every three people, only one person is going to make it in. Now, that's when it starts to get real serious, because you may be in a group of 10 people and you're all the Israelites and everybody call themselves coming out of Babylon, right? But only one out of 3. So that means that 10 people, only 3 or 4 will make it through. And that's every 10. So, brothers and sisters, your choices, your decisions are very, very important. How you move. Okay, so I'm gonna move to another point. When we come to Jordan, brothers and sisters, this is a place of refuge for us. This is a place, because of Jacob's trouble. The Most High said we are in a time of Jacob's trouble. It's like a time like no other time. He designated a place for us to run to in our time of need, flee, depart, come out of her. All those scriptures leading to an escape. We are to come out of Babylon. We are to flee. We are running for our lives. And there is a designated place. Jordan is that place. The Most High designated 3 cities on this side of the Jordan as designated places of refuge. So even though he said, I will protect those within my borders, and Jordan, the whole country Jordan, is within the borders, there are 3 cities only that are designated. Hold on, I gotta call. Excuse me. Do I have any water? I'm choking to death. Hold on. Excuse me, guys. Let me put this on hold. Hold on.
Praise AHAYAH. Yashaya. Rahawat. Lost are saved, find their way at the sound of your great name. All can name, feel no shame at the sound of your great name. Every fear has no place at the sound of your great name. Enemy, he has to leave at the sound of your great name. Oh, Yashaya. Worthy is the Lamb that was slain for us. Son of AHAYAH, man, you are high and lifted up, and all the world will praise your great name. Hey, hey, your great name. All the weak find their strength at the sound of your great name. Hungry souls receive grace at the sound of your great name. The fatherless, they find rest at the sound of your great name. And the sick and dead are raised at the sound of your great name. Oh, Yashaya. Worthy is the Lamb that was for us. Son of a higher man, you are high and lifted up, and all the world will praise your great name. Yeah, your great name. Redeemer, my healer, Lord Almighty, my Savior, defender, you are my King. Redeemer, my healer, Lord Almighty, my Savior, defender, you are my King. Yashaya, worthy is the Lamb that was slain for us. Son of a higher man, you are high and lifted up, and all the world will praise your great name. Hey, your great name. Hey. Your great name, your great name. Praise your high. Praise your high.
Praise AHAYAH, Yashaya. I love that song. Bless his soul, Dawid, for a beautiful song. Okay, yeah, I was choking. I had to get me some water. Praise AHAYAH. But okay, so I wanted to go into those 3 cities. Now, it's not that we are not protected within the borders, like the Most High said. He said that, but he narrowed in even further. He said, precept upon precept, line upon line, here a little, there a little. That's how we get understanding. So when we go into the scriptures within Deuteronomy, and I'm going to pull them up, it tells us about these cities of refuge, meaning, and he went into detail about if a man committed a crime and he happened to kill someone by mistake, or and the family would be after this person, or somebody wanted to kill this person because of the wrongful death or the wrongful act, that he designated these 3 cities on this side of the Jordan River. There's 6 cities altogether, but there's 3 in Israel and there's 3 within Jordan. Now we know in the scriptures, I think it's in Matthew 10 and 13, it says we are not to go into the cities of Israel right now because Yashaya is going to bring us into there. So we are not, and that's probably why a lot of people are getting deported out of Israel. All kind of things are going on. But also there's a lot of people there, and we know that destruction is coming eventually in Israel because it has to be cleansed before we go back into that land. So, but just to let you know that there are 3 cities on this side of Jordan as well that's designated as cities of refuge. Okay? And I want to go into that. And I went into it, and I'll keep doing it every time it comes up or I bring it up, so that brothers and sisters will know and not be confused. That even though we are to come to Jordan and that we are protected within his borders, there are 3 specific cities on this side of the Jordan that are considered cities of refuge for us. Okay? And the Most High, he made a new covenant with the children of Israel right before they went into Israel. And when you go into Deuteronomy 29, it speaks of that new covenant. But before that, I wanted to go to Deuteronomy 4 and 41 and just give the cities of refuge so that you can understand and be clear, and why like people just want to go to sit in certain, long as they within Jordan, they think they're fine. And listen, people can do whatever they want to do, but at least you can't say you was not told, about these, three specific cities, and why you won't hear Sister Connor talking about she's going to urban, or she's going to, a city outside of, if I'm in Amman, or if I'm in, Kadesh or whatever. Because I understand in the scriptures, it tells us that there are three cities of refuge that the children of Israel, will be protected in this time. He told Moses in that time when he was giving the law to the children of Israel, and also after that. So that covers us as well in this time as well. And matter of fact, Brother Daweed is the brother who pointed out these scriptures to me. He actually gave me these scriptures. It was like some years ago. It was like 5 years ago or so. But, I just played his song. So that was just, I brought that up. Yeah, Daweed is the one who brought these scriptures out to me and, gave me that understanding. I praise AHAYAH, and AHAYAH bless his soul, So when you go to Deuteronomy 4:41, it says, then Moses severed three cities on this side Jordan towards the sun rising, that the slayer might flee thither, which should kill his neighbor unawares, and hated him not in times past, and that fleeing unto one of these cities he might live. So it's a place where if you committed any kind of crime and you did something, and maybe you did it unawares, you didn't mean to, commit the crime, or you didn't mean to hurt anyone, this is why these three cities were created. Now I want to give it to modern day brothers and sisters. We are fleeing, and this is a time of Jacob's trouble. And although we know we haven't done anything, like we haven't committed any murder, we are fleeing for our lives at this time. And this is a very, dangerous time for Israel. The Most High has given us a place of refuge. This is a place of refuge that we can flee to in times of trouble, when someone is, trying to take our life. And that's what this was for. Okay, so even though he's specifically saying, like, if you committed a murder unawares, or you hit somebody in the head, or you threw a rock off a building and it ended up hitting somebody and you killed this person, and now the family, or they want to stone you or kill you because of the death, you can run into a place and not be harmed. He's going to cover this area, and these people are not to harm you. There will be judges, or whoever would, set the stage of what the fine would be, or what the, account would be. But it's still spiritually a place of refuge, because what the Most High do in the flesh, he also does in the spirit. So spiritually, there is a covering over this place and over this area. It's still a spiritual place of refuge for the children of Israel to run to in their time of need. So that goes into the Most High saying, I will protect those within my borders. These are the borders, and these are the perimeters that AHAYAH set forth, that we can run to in a time of need, in a time of refuge. Okay. 4:43, it says, namely Bezar in the wilderness. Bezar is another name for Petra, another name for Kadesh. So Kadesh is one of those cities that we can flee to in the time. Now, I'm not saying for us to haphazardly run into Petra, because it's not going to work like that. I've seen people get put out of Petra. I've seen people get rounded up. So the Most High is talking about when we start to gather together as a body, and we start coming together, these are places of refuge and protection for us. Okay. Now, people just can't do haphazardly thing and think like, oh, the Most High got me, because I hear that all the time. Oh, the Most High got me. Oh, the Most High got me. Everybody like the Most High got them. But meanwhile, people are getting deported and people will be put out because, first of all, they're not in line with the Most High. First of all, you must know to keep the laws, statutes, commandments. You must know to call on the right name. You must keep the holy days according to the Most High's saying. All that stuff is a factor in this. This is why AHAYAH first gave Moses the law. He gave his name. He gave his statutes. He gave his ordinances. He gave everything to the children of Israel. So that way, when they was in this predicament, they will be covered. But you're just not going to be haphazardly covered and thinking that, oh, you're going to be okay. You better know that you should not be offending AHAYAH by calling him the name that's not his name. Because he said, first of all, he's a jealous power, right? He's a jealous power. You cannot just be calling on any name. Now, I received a message. Excuse me. I just received a message and I want to read it because it goes into this. Hold on. I don't know if it's a brother or sister, but it says, obey AHAYAH. This is what they, on the first video, they said, Shalom, Sister Connor, excellent video. Sincerely appreciate all you're doing to wake Israel up. And I have learned so much from watching your content. Thank you. I appreciate that, obey AHAYAH. Content. I agree. We have to come together as a nation. But how can we come together when we can't agree on the details of our doctrine? You've said it yourself that you won't associate with people who don't resonate with the GOCC doctrine. Okay, let me respond to that. Now, yeah, I have said that. It's come to the point where I have to say that. The Most High, like, I can't say this for everybody. I can only speak for what happened to me and how the Most High dealt with me. So I'm going to say this. Before I left America, brothers and sisters, I told you that I was prophesied to, and I was told that I would take a trip. This trip that I'm on, the Most High already told me that I would take it. He told me a lot of things that would happen in the trip, and he kind of told me what to do. One of the things he told me to do was I must worship him. He was very clear on that. You must worship me. He told me a lot of things, but he said, you must worship me. So at first, at the time, I thought I was worshiping worshiping AHAYAH, the Most High. I thought I was already doing that. I was calling on the J name. I was keeping the, the pagan holidays, but that was my truth, and that's what I thought. It wasn't until after I left Babylon and the Most High, I told you, I ended up running across a GOCC video when I was in Israel. But even before that, he had sent me to a church and I learned about his holy days, and not just like the Passover. That's when I learned about the Feast of Tabernacles, the blowing of the trumpets, and the Day of Atonement, which I find now is very important to the Most High. The 7th month holy days are it's a very holy month. It's double Shabbats in it. It's like most of the month is holy. So, and we already know how important this, the Passover is. Yashaya's, rising of Yashaya, his death, and all that, us coming back to the Most High because our King was sacrificed. So I didn't know none of these things until the Most High started to show these things. And it all culminates to, you must worship me. That's what he meant. Like at first, I didn't even understand that, but now I get it. So, and then he told me about speaking to the children of Israel. I didn't know at first that this is what I had to do. I didn't know that I had to tell people how he was dealing with me. And I had to speak on video, and it would come to this. So when I'm saying those things, it's only because what the Most High has told me to do and told me to say. So I'm speaking to the children of Israel, telling them we must come together. And he showed me the doctrine. He showed me Elder Ricard and what Elder Ricard was speaking on. It is the truth. So I'm not just saying this and just haphazardly saying, oh, Israel, we got to come together. Not only am I saying we got to come together, I'm showing you the doctrine that the Most High appointed me to and told me this was the doctrine. So only thing I can do, brothers and sisters, is tell you guys. I can put it out there and tell you, but it has to resonate with you and your spirit, and it should already be resonating. But if it doesn't, like I said before, everybody who claim to be Israel is not of Israel, and it's just the bottom line. And I'm not saying this to offend people, but y'all have to really understand and know that there is one doctrine in this earth that the Most High is resonating with and for. Y'all gotta accept that. He's not all over the place. AHAYAH ain't no whole bunch of confusion going on. He ain't making nothing up as he go along. This is what the doctrine that he put in the earth from the very beginning, starting with Adam, all the way up until now. It's upon you, brothers and sisters, to find, the Most High, AHAYAH. He said, seek and ye shall find. Ask, knock, and the door will be open unto you. So you have to be fasting and praying and trying to get this truth so that you can be counted worthy. Because nobody is found worthy until the end. So we all going to go through these trials and tests. And just because you're waking up to the truth does not make it mean that you're going to make it and that you're going to make it to that kingdom. So it behooves you, brothers and sisters. Yeah, I'm saying we all need to figure out that doctrine. Y'all need to figure it out. And I'm just pointing you in the direction in which you need to go. GOCC has the doctrine. Now, you can believe it. You can push up against it. You can kick the rocks down all the way somewhere left if you want to. It's up to you, brothers and sisters. Because at the end of the day, you're going to have to make the choice. You know what I'm saying? It's not on Sister Con. The onus is not on me to prove anything to you. I just need to tell you. I need to speak it. I need to speak it. And now that's what I'm doing. I'm trying to tell you, show you, and kind of lead you to the right direction and where you need to go. I'm not trying to teach you. I'm not trying to, how they say, like, push nothing on brothers and, force men and, you know what I'm saying? Because they call me every name in the book. I'm just trying to give you some direction on which way to go. You have to figure this out. It's on you. The onus is on you. It's not on the Most High to, show you some miraculous thing need to fall out the sky in front of you and bounce on the right direction. It's not. You need to fast. You need to pray. You need to fall on your face like David did. You need to beg and ask him and plead with the Most High. If he has not opened your eyes, if he have not given you revelation, then you need to go to him weeping and crying so that you can make it, brothers and sisters. That's how serious it is. Okay? So, yeah, I know that we don't believe. All of us don't believe. I know Israelites is hard-headed and stiff-necked, and they seeing something else, but it behooves you to figure it out. Because, listen, I was on the J name too, and I believed it wholeheartedly. Nobody couldn't tell me nothing about that. But guess what? When I heard the truth, it just resonated. Something in my spirit told me that was right. Now, if you couldn't tell me in 1,000 years that I would ever get off what I was on, I thought the J name was it and that's it. Now that's what I was doing. But when I heard the truth, and but you know what I find? A lot of people, they spiritually dead, brothers and sisters. A lot of people are spiritually dead and they don't want to own up to that. A lot of people are operating with sin in their lives. A lot of people are still dealing with a lot of sin. So how can you hear or be awakened by this truth if you got sin going on in your life? How? Because the Holy Spirit, she flees from any kind of wickedness. She will not dwell in a temple that is defiled. So if you got any kind of wickedness going on in you, stuff that you may not even know, right? You may think you operating fine, but for some reason, the Most High and the Holy Spirit is not revealing His secrets to you. That's an issue. Hold on. Okay, so I'll get to that question. Shalom, Akwaf Shoshana. Can you give us a heads up before the holy days? I have no one to fellowship with. Okay, I'll give you a link to my calendar, and you can check it out. You can start making your own calendar, and you kind of could keep in line like that. I would suggest that, brothers and sisters, not just to kind of go by my calendar too. You should know it, and this, I believe, will force us all. Like this, there's a scripture that says He will put His laws in our inward parts. I strongly believe how the Most High is going to do that, because most of His laws are based on His holy days. You cannot keep the commandments if you don't know His holy days, because it's not just the Saturday Sabbath. It's all His holy feast days, His ordinances, and His judgments, right? So in order for you to know His feast days and His ordinances, you have to know those holy days when they fall, right? So that's how He's going to put it in our inward parts, because you're going to need to know that calendar. You need to figure out how it works. Just like I was showing you, like sometimes there's double Sabbaths. You need to know that. You need to know, when is a holy day and when is not a holy day. You need to know that we're supposed to kill the lamb on the Shabbat at even, right? And that immediately goes into the Feast of Unleavened Bread. See, these are ordinances and judgments and holy days that you have to know these things. That's how you're going to keep because everybody know the Saturday Sabbath. I mean, that's a no-brainer after a while. Once you become an Israelite, the Saturday Sabbath is a no-brainer. But when He starts talking about His statutes and His ordinances, His statutes, like we must marry within our tribes, that we should not be marrying Gentiles. Those are statutes that we should know that we need to keep. And these are laws and judgments that will come upon us if we don't keep these things. So you understand what I'm saying? So I will put the link, and I'll do that now. Praise AHAYAH, Bahashim Yashaya, Alicat, 2069. Praise AHAYAH. Good to see you as well. Thanks for coming. So I'll put the link in the, in this chat now, so that you can start paying attention. Now, brothers and sisters, I just got to add this in there. Sometimes, I'm a little late, changing the calendar, whatever, but I do post all the calendars, so you can go to the next calendar and see what's coming. Sometimes I just don't have time to remember at the end of the month, and I don't know if I did it this month. So that reminds me, I got to change the calendar as well. I think it's still on September, but if you go down, you can see October, November, December. All the calendars are up. It's just not maybe on the first one. Okay. Please forgive me for that, because sometimes, I just be forgetting. But again, I'm saying that these are His statutes, these are His judgments, these are His ordinances, and He would, in order for you to understand that calendar and know, He's putting it in our inward parts without you even really know. So it's important to learn the calendar. It's very important. It should line up with Leviticus 23. It should line up with what the Passover is saying. But what I find is that a lot of people aren't reading, and they don't really know, that, on the 14th day, which is always falls on the Shabbat, it's a fixed time at even. So that means Saturday at sundown is when we're supposed to kill the lamb. This is a memorial that we are to keep forever. You know what I'm saying? This is something that we got to know, that on that 14th day, that's when Christ died. That's the same time we're supposed to be killing the lamb. It's an ordinance to us. We should know that. So now when you start going into these scriptures and you start reading this stuff, it has to line up. It makes sense. And soon as we kill that lamb at even, that's even starting that's the Feast of Unleavened Bread starts right then. And for 7 days, we're eating unleavened bread. Okay? Okay, so praise AHAYAH says, I kind of get, a little, into it, guys. I don't mean to. So please bear with me. Okay. I was gonna say, okay, give me a second so I won't forget. Let me post it in the chat so you can have that and you can start like really going into it and dissecting it because I told you pretty soon the calendar starts to line up with the Gregorian calendar. And now in the all the like 14 years that I've been making a calendar, this has never happened. It's recently starting to, at the end of this year, I believe, moving forward, you'll notice that there's certain months that's starting to line up. And it's like the Most High is giving us a sign. He's starting to show you. Now, it just so happens that I've been paying attention ever since he showed me the calendar back. That was 14 years ago when I went to that church and he showed me those holy days. And then he just put it on my spirit to make a calendar. But I didn't even know the rules. I didn't know about the secrets of the time. I didn't know all these things had to come into play with the book of Enoch and the book of Jubilees, telling you that it's not just the moon. I didn't know all that stuff. And so over time, of studying and then getting the information from Elder Ricard, how that he broke all that stuff down. Okay, so now we got the calendar. Now we know how this calendar works. So it's important, y'all, to study it. And this takes time. Like you may not can just watch the video one time and get it. You understand? You may not can do it. It didn't happen like that for me. I had already been studying it for years and I couldn't get it. So that way, when Elder Ricard brought it out, it was like, oh, I understand. But I had already been studying for years. So it did make sense to me once I saw it. But for somebody else who never really was paying any attention, you might have to really kind of go into that. I was already going into the book of Enoch. I couldn't figure that out. I was already going into the book of Jubilees and trying to figure out, how this thing was running. So when it was given to me, I got it. But you may have to do it a couple of times before you understand it. Elder Ricard, not only does he have the secrets of the time, he have about 4 other videos, and I have a playlist that you can, so he kind of put it all together so that you can keep watching it and keep getting it, because it's not an easy thing, brothers and sisters. It's very complicated. These are the dark sentences that the Bible talks about. Like everything is not cut and dry in the scriptures. Some things are mysteries. Some things are hard to understand. Some people won't ever get it because if the Most High ain't taking the scales off their eyes, they won't even be able to see it. And I can't knock people for not seeing it because some things just ain't for everybody. You understand? And then, but people think that they should automatically be able to get it. People think that. They think that, oh, well, if you could see that, I should be able to see it too. And unfortunately, it just does not work that way. Some people do have scales over their eyes, and the Most High have not opened up their understanding. Some people have sin. Sin is a big factor on whether you can see or not. And people don't think that they look at their sin as nothing and thinking that they should be operating just like everybody else, somebody who's, living righteous. That's like somebody like Noah, who was had favor with the Most High. He was revealing his secrets. Abraham, David, all of these prophets that the Most High was dealing with, and then some regular, forefather feeling that they should have the same knowledge and understanding, and they should be able to see just like King David did or King Solomon did. When we clearly know that Solomon was blessed and he was wise, the Most High gave him wisdom. So everybody could not see what Solomon saw. But I'm sure that there were Israelites in his time who was thinking that if he could see it, surely I can see it. But if the Most High didn't give you understanding, he didn't open your eyes, you're not going to be able to see it. And these are some of the things that we're going to have to accept, as well, That's why, listen, a lot of brothers are struggling. It's huge. They are struggling with, being able to receive information from other brothers. A lot of men in this truth feel that if one brother can teach, that we all, they all should be able to teach and bring forth understanding and have the knowledge and wisdom that the Most High is given. But it's clearly not the case. I mean, I'm sure you've run across some brothers that you'd be like, what? I'm like, what are you talking about? They be coming up off the wall with some stuff, and you'd be like, oh my goodness, But they, in their heart, they feel just because other brothers is bringing forth truth, that they should be able to bring forth truth too. And they don't even see that they got scales on their eyes, and the Most High is not giving them understanding. But you could not tell them that. You understand? So me saying to brothers and sisters, like, take the Hebrew Bible Academy, I know that's a problem for a lot of people. Because a lot of people, first of all, let me explain something to you. I'm going to go into this too. It's sad to have to say this, that, I've started coming out, and I told y'all about the infiltration, what's going on in Babylon, that clearly they're trying to stop the children of Israel from waking up. They're trying, with all this distraction going on, all this stuff is not for naught. They're doing it on purpose. They're trying to stop people from leaving, the whole pandemic, all this stuff. They're trying to stop the children of Israel, right? I mean, to most, it's clear. All right. So when you start putting out, okay, this infiltration, I started talking about that and talking about, Elder McCarr and this and that. Instead of brothers, standing up and standing together and trying to like, okay, well, they're not going to take us all down. They're going to stand in their brother's stead. Again, I go into, are you your brother's keeper? Are you your sister's keeper? Kind of thing. Instead of brothers, being righteous men, and of course, standing in the stead for their brother, they kind of like, kick the brother, their brother to the curb and like, I ain't going to be down with that. They'll shun their brother and try to, either come teach a whole new doctrine, come up with a whole new understanding, like as if, that's going to make them righteous. So I'm saying to say that, brothers not even willing to stand up in the stead, even if they know that there's infiltration and we are in trouble, brothers and sisters. We're in the war. There's a takedown going on of the children of Israel. And instead of brothers coming together, knowing that there's this truth and we must stand together, they scattered these brothers all over the place. There's not one real group of brothers outside of Babylon coming together to stand. So let alone brothers accepting the fact that, you're not a teacher and the Most High didn't give you, no understanding. There's a lot of jealousy going on, just like in the days of King David. A lot of brothers are jealous of other brothers. They won't, acknowledge that there's a brother who may have got some understanding. They feel like if they got the understanding, surely the Most High will give it to me too. And so that's part of all of this chaos going on, with a lot of men, but women deal with this spirit too, so we got this whole thing going on as to why Israel cannot come together, which brings me back to the question of AHAYAH, saying, that I'm saying, that we must come together, and, they can't get under GOC doctrine. The majority of the reason why people don't want to get under Elder McCarr's doctrine is because of jealousy. Other brothers are jealous of brothers, and they feel like they should be in this position. So that's mainly a lot of the problem from my perspective. Now, I've talked to a lot of brothers. I talk to a lot of them. I know that the reason why a lot of them won't stand up, they won't, come under Elder McCarr, because they're jealous. It's a jealousy thing. It's not whether they hear the truth. They'll take from Elder McCarr's doctrine of the secrets of the time. They'll listen to the videos and all that, and then try to come up with their own holy days based on the understanding that Elder McCarr gave. How wicked can you be? How wicked can you be? You'll hear somebody's doctrine knowing the Most High didn't give it to you. They knew nothing about the calendar, anything. And I can tell you why, because I was asking brothers. I was going to brothers talking about the calendar. Not only did I go to Elder Ricard, I went to Elder Ricard, but I went to other brothers. I don't really talk about that because it is no point in talking about it, because once Elder Ricard came out with the Secrets of the Time, it deaded all of that. But I initially was going to all the camps. I was asking. I didn't understand why they were keeping the days with the cards or our Jewish people. I did not understand that, and I was asking questions about that. It wasn't just Elder Ricard that I asked. I asked majority of them. They all knew about me. So I'm saying that's why I can surely say that the issue is not so much that the understanding, that they don't agree with the understanding. A lot of it is jealousy. A lot of these brothers don't want to get under another brother's teaching. And a lot of them will take from the understanding that Elder Ricard came out with, because none of them was on it. None of them were talking about Enoch. None of them were talking about the Jubilee, Book of Jubilees. They all were against it. They were told the people, don't go into the Enoch. Don't go into these books. They didn't ascribe to those books. So that's how I know. So the person obey AHAYAH, you're asking this question. It boils down to, and you hate to say it, because you don't want to be arguing and fighting with people. But if you know the truth, you know the truth. It all boils down to a lot of jealousy. Is why our brothers won't come together under one doctrine. So when you understand that, then you know that, okay, AHAYAH will have to intervene. And then it comes back to the whole 2/3. People are going to be destroyed in the wilderness for rebellion. The spirit of rebellion. They refuse to do what's right, even though they may even know. Some of them know, because they'll go, okay, yeah, I listened to Elder Ricard's Secrets of the Times. And now what they do, they go into Enoch and they go into Jubilees, but they still try to come up with their own holy days. So that right there, guys, is wickedness in itself. And you're taking from a teaching from somebody else, and now you're trying to apply it to something new that you brought forth. Guys, is that not wicked? It's wicked. You know? So that's a bit to answer your question, Obey AHAYAH. Okay, and I'll read the rest. You said Psalms 104:19 says, he appointed the moon for seasons. The sun knows his going down. Right. So that right there, let me stop you right there on that scripture. That shows right there in that scripture what Elder Ricard brought out is that the moon and the sun work together to bring forth the calendar. When you go into Enoch, he gives you in Enoch chapter 72, it gives you the cycle of the sun. And I think it's in Enoch 78, if I'm recalling correctly, it gives you the cycle of the moon. So it works together. So I'm just going to put that together and I'll keep going. Isn't that he's now they're asking a question. Isn't that confirmation that the solar Enoch calendar is flawed? I watched Elder Ricard's video on the calendar as you suggested. No, I'm giving you the answer. It's not flawed, because what Elder Ricard gave you, he gave you the cycle of the sun and the cycle of the moon and showed you how they must work together. It's not, most of the Israelites are on the flawed calendar of cycle of the moon, the slither of the moon. The majority of them, and why they're doing that is because that's the calendar that the Jewish Khazars gave us. And this is what, when you go in Book of Jubilees, which precepts Enoch and gives you further understanding, tells you. It said we would follow the Gentiles and we would follow the moon solely, and we would be thrown off by 10 days. That's exactly the answer. So that scripture you posted, Obey AHAYAH, gives you the answer within the scriptures. It says the sun, the cycle of the sun, and the cycle of the moon together. That's how we come to the last. That's how Elder Ricard came to the last day of the year, based on the sun and also the moon. So I don't know if you really got that when you saw the video, but you need to watch the video a couple of more times, because listen, it's not easy. It's not easy just reading those scriptures to get it, and it's not easy just listening to Elder Carr's video as he read it to get it. You got to really study that and take it piece by piece and write down those scriptures. And then there's some more scriptures that he give in like 3 or 4 other videos that as he started to come out with more information. But it's basically the secret of the time is what gives it. He just gives them, goes into it maybe like a different ways, but it's basically that. I can give you that playlist so that you can kind of go into those scriptures. I'll answer your question, and I'll put the link. Please forgive me though. Okay, so I hope, let me finish that question, because that's a very good question, and I thank you for your comment. Okay, he says, many Israelites who use 2 John 1 and 10, Romans 16:17 to explain why we can't come together. And that makes sense. But since we've been disconnected from our heritage, we all believe so many different things. I guess I'm just living in a fairy tale because I want Israel to unite, even though we're not going to agree on every detail of the doctrine at the moment. But maybe as time nears for us to get to the wilderness, the Most High will start to give more of us the correct doctrine. And and it is happening. That is happening. We are getting closer. Things are starting to narrow down. Events are taking place, and people are starting to see. Because listen, 7 years ago, 8 years ago, 9 years ago, these same Israelite camps was not talking about fleeing. Nobody, they was clowning, like I said before, they were clowning Elder Carr, talking about the flee doctrine, and nobody was talking about leaving Babylon. Now, sentiments have changed, would you say? There's a lot more people who know to flee. Even if they're calling on different gods now, they see common sense is telling you, okay, something is going on. We need to get up out of here. So it is happening right before our eyes. And the road is getting narrower, narrower, and narrower. And we most of us will start coming together. It's unfortunate that it always has to wait till something bad happens, or when you ain't got no other choice. So now you got to change your doctrine, okay? Because that's what it is. It's people being stubborn, people being hard-headed, stiff-necked, people dealing with jealousy and all kind of wickedness, people still dealing with sin, so their eyes are closed. So these are all of the factors, and this is why I'm bringing it out. These are all the factors that play a part with why brothers and sisters refuse to come under one doctrine. But guess what? There's only one doctrine. And the Most High AHAYAH is not all over the place. He don't have many names. He has one name. There's one location. There's one doctrine, brothers and sisters. The Most High, he deals with one. He deals with truth. And he don't have many truths. He has one. So that's the realization that people are going to have to just come under. They're going to have to come under it and snap out of it. And the sooner, the better. It's unfortunate that a lot of people have to go through a lot of stuff in order to get it. And that's why I'm making this video talking about choices and your decisions so that you don't have to go through certain things. But a lot of people have to go through things to get purged. So this is the process that we're seeing. A lot of people are going through stuff. And a lot of people going to go through more stuff. Like you see Sister Connie sitting here talking about come out of her, come out of her, come out of her. Jordan is a safe place. So and people will wake up, they get the bright idea to run to Africa. They just go. You'll hear about this. I'm telling you about the borders. I'm telling you what scriptures to look at. I'll tell you everything so that you can look at it, read it, and get it. But people will still jump up and go to Africa. And then start coming up with, Africa is the real motherland. People are saying America is our land. Like, They'll come up with anything just to not do what the Most High is calling them to do. They'll come up with a lot of stuff, brothers and sisters. So that's why I'm putting this kind of video out, so that people can, before you make any kind of real major decisions and just saying like, oh, the Most High is dealing with me, because a lot of times we all feel like the Most High is dealing with us and we be doing the wrong stuff. Okay? You be doing the wrong stuff because you're not really checking with the Most High. You're not really fasting and praying and going into, deep meditation before you making moves. You just kind of feeling like you need to do something and you just do it. And then the consequences happen. Then you start going through stuff. Then the blessing is not with you. And then you're wondering why you're in this position. But you start to get, after chastisement, you stop wanting to be chastised. And you want to start stopping and thinking about what you're going to do, And that's how we start to be able to come together. So the Most High said, gather yourself together, O nature undesired. And that's what we have to do. And first, people have to go through some things. So this is why you got Sister Connie here talking about, okay, let's come together. Let's make a committee for the ones who can see. Elder sisters, let's come together. If you can see, if you have eyes to see and ears to hear. Only then am I saying, let's come together. You know what I'm saying? Under one accord. That means you already calling on AHAYAH. You already keeping the holy feast days. You already got that part down pat. Now we can start to come together. And now we can start to help younger sisters, or, even helping the men of the Most High. Because a lot of our brothers are struggling. They're struggling with all kind of stuff. And, I want to talk about that as well. I want to talk about the whole, our brothers, what they're struggling with. Like, a lot of brothers are still dealing with, like, fornication, dealing with pornography, and dealing with all kind of sin. And this is why they cannot, get any revelation. Again, talking about the Holy Spirit, she will not dwell in a temple, that's laden with sin. The Holy Spirit will not give you answers and show you in direction and all that stuff if you're dealing with sin. We have to put the sin down, brothers and sisters. Having a lustful spirit, thinking about fornicating, being in relationships based on fornication. Come on, people. It's not going to work. We really got to put that stuff down. Brothers talking about multiple wives. I mean, come on. The fact that you even talking like that shows that you got an issue, with fornication. You're telling on yourself, really. Okay. And the sisters, if you don't understand that, if you can't see that in brothers, if they talking, having certain conversations about certain things, knowing that it's wickedness, knowing that it's sin, and you should not even be entertaining it, and you calling yourself a righteous daughter of Zion, but yet you entertaining certain things, and it ain't right. In your gut, it ain't right. Ain't nobody even got to tell you it ain't, it ain't right. But you're going to, in your mind, allowing these thoughts to fester, and before you know it, it's a talking point, and now it's a reality because you refuse to check yourself for your sinful, lustful nature. You got to put this down, sisters. It ain't right in your spirit, but you will talk yourself into some wickedness. You will talk yourself into some sin. And now, anybody who don't agree with you, you got a problem with this because you already, you don't visualize the whole thing in your mind. Now it's a part of you. Now the sin is in you. Now it's taken over you. And now it's just, all it has to do now is just play itself out. And this is just, it's an ongoing cycle. With our sisters and with the brothers. The fornication thing is heavy, y'all, and it's a strong battle, and especially Judah is having a big problem with fornication. But so is these other nations. Judah, Benjamin, Levi, a lot of these brothers is dealing with fornication heavy. And you entertaining it, you thinking about it, you falling right into the whole, that fiery pot. And the next thing that's it's going to do is lead you to sin. And now you cannot see or think, clearly. When fornication and lust is blinding you, you cannot see and think clearly. Sisters, because you can't even expect these brothers. I mean, we expect our brothers to be righteous and holy, but for some reason they seem to can't get there. But you as a woman, trying to call yourself holy and righteous, but yet you willing to lower your standards and do things that you're not supposed to do. You're not supposed to be entertaining. Shouldn't even be thinking about. It's a problem. And the Holy Spirit is not going to dwell with you. She's not going to lead you. She's not going to let you and guide you to the right decisions because you already let the sin into your members. It's in your mind. You're contemplating it. You're thinking about it. You're moving towards it, and you're going to do it. Okay? So I just wanted to kind of like talk about that a little bit. And that's something we really need to focus on a lot with our sisters, not falling into temptation of lust and fornication. You know what I'm saying? Especially when the Most High is calling you to do something or lead you to do something. You got to take control. You got to have self-control. You got to have temperance, sisters. You got to guard your ears and guard your eyes so that you are not falling into temptation to do things that you ain't supposed to be doing. And it's hard to talk to sisters once they got their head in that direction. You can't even talk to them. It's like they're making excuses. They come up, oh, I had a dream. Oh, the Most High told me. It becomes all this. All this sin will come and they'll start to put the Most High in it. When they want to do something, they will start to put the Most High in it. And it's one thing if the Most High told you to do something, but usually the outcome determines whether the Most High was in it or not. Because I've seen it happen to sisters. They end up back in Babylon talking about how these Israelite men ain't no good. And now you want to talk about the Israelite men, which we already know there's a problem. I'm not saying that. But I'm just saying, you knew that when you started going through this cycle, when you start going through the stuff, and you put it in your mind that this is what you needed to do, and the Most High was leading you to do it, and you know what I'm saying? While you was inching up to it, easing on down the road towards it, you already knew, and you decided, you made the decision to get involved with a fornication, lustful situation, and you wasn't supposed to do it. And now you want to talk about how bad the men are. Look, don't come to Sister Conner telling me about how bad the men are. When you wanted to go along and it was all good when you wanted to do it. And you come up with every excuse and now you the victim. Okay? Sister Conner don't want to hear it. And I know plenty of sisters. I done talked to a lot of them. Mostly all of them got the same story. Most of them, all the sisters got the same story. Like, oh, they so devastated. They were so righteous. They thought that he was this and he was that. And it was like, you knew he was lying to you the whole time. He just wanted to get what he wanted. And listen, let me just say this to you. If you are in Babylon and you see how these brothers are, and you see how they operate, and you see how they doing, and then you come out of Babylon and you're hearing the same stuff, sisters, y'all know. If it sounds the same, if it bark like a dog, if it quack like a duck, It's a duck. It's a dog. It ain't no different. You already heard it before. Don't let it be under the guise of, oh, he's a Hebrew Israelite now. He know the truth. And he's still quacking like a duck. You got to call it what it is. And if you choose to go along with it, act like you don't know and you don't know no better, and you're the innocent one, and you're not lusting, and you're not fornicating, but it's just that it's this, you're only lying to yourself. And you would only lie to yourself if this is what you was about anyway, or this is a demon you were dealing with anyway. So you can't just blame men, sisters. You're not going to be able to just blame men and act like, oh, he was so bad and you were so perfect and righteous. But yet you went along and got yourself in a situation, and now he's nowhere to be found. And y'all broke up. Now you on with another brother. And these Israelite sisters be jumping from one man to the next, to the next, to the next, to the next, and trying to act like they're not fornicating and they're acting like a whore. You don't want to see, you be like, oh, I'm not a whore. I'm not fornicating. I'm a righteous daughter of Zion. But yet you're acting like a whore. Like I said, if it quacks like a duck, it's a duck, male or female. So sisters, you cannot be blaming these brothers. If you come across a brother and he's saying all the right things you want to hear because you twitching, you twisting in your body and you ready to, have a man. And he's in your ear and he's saying everything you want to hear, and you start to twitch. I don't mean to laugh, but it's funny. Okay. You got the twitch going and he's in your ear talking all the right things. So now it's on, baby. Y'all better be careful. Because listen, the Most High ain't differentiating. Because he turned out to be a liar and he just used you. And, he just wanted sex, and now he done got him another wife. And he done got, now he talking about multiple wives on you. Y'all better get a clue. Y'all better get a clue. Act like you know. Y'all from the streets. A lot of y'all grew up in the hood. And even if you didn't grow up in the hood, even in Mount Vernon somewhere in Connecticut, men are still the same. So don't act like you didn't know. Don't try to play dumb and act like, oh, I've been celibate. I get that all the time. I hear it all the time with my sisters. Like, oh, no, Sister God, I'm not even thinking like that. I've been celibate for so and so long. I ain't even thinking about it. As soon as a man come around, they start twitching. They get to twitch. I don't mean to laugh, but it's funny. It is because it's true. Now they can't even contain themselves. They so hot and bothered because a man came around and he's showing them some attention. Sisters, y'all better get a grip. Y'all better get a grip. And stop opening up so fast to men you do not know. If you don't know this brother, you should not, certain things shouldn't even be coming out your mouth. Certain things should not be coming out your mouth if you don't even know the brother. It shouldn't even be a thought in your mind, sisters, really. And if it is a thought in your mind, then you need to find some stuff to do, because you obviously got too much time on your hand and there's some things you need to do. Even if you think you're busy and you're overwhelmed, obviously you don't got enough to do. So I just want to put this little tidbit in your ear, sisters. But basically, that's about what I wanted to talk about. And I pray that y'all receive this with love. I'm not talking about anybody in particular. I've been seeing a whole lot over these 14 years, guys. I've seen a whole lot. And the situations are kind of like all the same. It's always the same, dialogue. It's always the same conversation. Basically, we've seen it all before in Babylon. It's the same now. It's because we know we're, in the truth. And we can have more, like dialogues like this, but the daughters of Zion, we sisters, we never want to take ownership for our part of the deal, the bad parts that go wrong, and we don't want to, own up to the fact that we had a part in it. You know what I'm saying? That we was kind of going along. We was happy, that the brother was interested. I mean, it's okay. It's natural for you to be happy that somebody's interested in you, that, checking you out. You may got 2 or 3 brothers calling, trying to, holler, and, they talking. But you better figure it out. You better weed through the nonsense real quick and don't choose wrongly. You better choose righteously. And that's, our choice will determine the outcome. Your choices, how you choose, will determine the outcome, sisters. So if you end up with a brother that he end up turning out to be a liar, now he's talking about multiple wives when he wasn't talking about that before. Obviously, you didn't take enough time to get to know the brother. And that's a major, major factor. You cannot be faulting these brothers for just out and out being dogs when you don't take the time to get to know them and figure out for your own self. Guard yourself. You should not just be opening up yourself to just anybody just because somebody comes along. You should value yourself more than that. Praise the AHAYAH, Yashaya. You're a daughter of Zion. So now you got to act like one. You got to conduct yourself like a woman and a righteous sister, and not just be entertaining anything, and not just let people say whatever they want to say to you. And it's okay. All right. Okay. Okay, guys. I don't know. Maybe it sounds like I'm fighting in here. So I'm talking but I just really want y'all to get in. I get excited about stuff like this. So I hope I'm not offending anyone. Sisters, I love you and I want the best for you. And although I believe that our brothers are kings, and I'm sure it's a wonderful feeling to have a king interested and wanting to marry you and wanting to, be with you and concerned about you and checking on you. It's a wonderful feeling, sisters. But still, guard your hearts, guard your soul, guard yourself. Don't be giving up yourself. And especially now, let me just tell you, being in a Muslim country and seeing how covered, seeing how protected these women are. Not only because they live in the household with their father, and the man has to go through their father or their brothers. These men don't allow their sisters and daughters to be disrespected, and it's so bad that they will take their daughter or sister out if she's acting inappropriately on any level. They still believe in that whole, killing their daughter or sister if she degrades the family or if she's embarrassed the family. They don't play that in these Muslim countries. And so that same regard, and I know, sisters, because if you haven't come to the Middle East or in different countries, you don't even see how much these people regard the women. I mean, swinging on poles, what's going on in America is atrocious compared to how these, people, the picture they paint. Now, I know that there's a whole lot of stuff going on behind the scenes. I'm not talking about that. But there are people getting killed. These women are getting killed because if they disrespect their family and they don't do right in for their family's name, then you cannot. They will take you out. And the same thing should be regarded for the daughters of Zion. That same respect. And I know, sisters, that we don't have men covering us and protecting us like that. And I know a lot of these brothers feel that this is what we're trying to do. We're trying to, get our daughters and sisters in order. They're doing that. But yet they still keeping the same nonsense going. Like They'll be marrying these sisters, but then 8 months later, they no longer married no more. Now she back in Babylon and she fitting for herself again. So they will use you, take advantage of you under the guise of this truth, under being awakened, under being a Hebrew Israelite. They will take advantage of you and throw you to the curb if you don't know how to protect yourself, sisters. That's why you should not be considering opening your legs and opening up yourself for anybody just on blah 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 blah, just on some talk. You cannot, sisters. You must protect yourself, protect your honor as a daughter of Zion. You not to have nobody looking at you like no whore, and not conducting yourself like you a whore by going from man to man to man because one situation didn't work out. He was saying that he was going to marry you. He was saying that he was going to do all this. So you got into this situation with him. And then 6 months, 8 months, a year later, now he talking multiple wives. So how can you guard yourself in that type of situation? How, you ask? Don't get involved. Don't get involved. That's how. You ain't got to be jumping in no situation just to be in a situation. This is what, a lot of brothers are promoting. Oh, you need protection. Oh, you need a man. Oh, you need it. But they ain't really coming with nothing. They ain't really coming with a whole lot of nothing. They're just talking. Unfortunately. Now, I'm not saying that this situation won't change. Eventually, it will have to change. Hence, 7 women to 1 man. Because the Most High is about to bring out a can of whoop behind on everybody and everything. So all this stuff is going to change, sisters. Only thing I could suggest to you is protect yourself, protect your eyes, protect your ears. Don't be jumping into no situation. Be cautious. Because people lie and people still be lying. And especially people, but we're talking about men. Men lie. They lie to get what they want. They lie to, they'll say whatever they need to say to get what they want. Okay? Ain't nothing changed. And I've seen it happen to sisters in the truth. And there's a whole lot of sisters, by the way, that's on Facebook and Instagram, totally rebelling against, Hebrew Israelite, talking about how's the code based on them being mistreated in this truth by men who they were supposed to be protected by men who said they wanted to marry them, and then they now all of a sudden they talking about multiple wives and all kind of other stuff. Hold on. Let me just read some of these comments. Sorry, guys. They just want to be let in the door easy. They don't like sisters with standards. Yes. And that's how you know. Listen, they will give themselves away. You ain't got to even do much. They just, they'll start flipping and acting up and doing all kind of this and that. You'll know. And it's on you, sisters. The red flags will be there right in front of your face. You may decide to look the other way. You decide to put your guard down. You decide to lower your standards. You decide. But only person that's going to pay in the end is you. Because you're going to be left either, and I've seen it, talking about going back to Babylon now because it didn't work out. You done went against everybody and anybody who told you like, I don't know, girl. Don't sound right to me, but you can't even say that. It says all this drama is from the 2/3 narcissist. Yes. And in the scriptures, it tells you that women will have no husband. The children will be fatherless because a lot of brothers is not going to make it. And they will dog you out for a painted lady of the night. Yeah, these brothers are in chaos and don't know what they want. Okay? And then you're wrong if you say something. Like you can't even say you try to like help your sisters or say nothing, these brothers be really mad because they don't want you to say nothing because they really want to do exactly what they do, and they don't want nobody saying nothing. That's why they don't want to check each other. That's why they don't want to say chastise each other. They don't want to correct each other because they know they got to fight. Because these brothers ain't having being corrected. You can't tell them nothing. You know what I'm saying? Especially about what they doing with their wife or their girlfriend, or you can't say nothing. You will be enemy number one. Let me see. And they don't want nobody to check them. Yes. Shalom, Sister Kayana. Yeah, exactly. It will be a problem. You got a problem. And listen, I know firsthand because these brothers, boy, they've been at war with Sister Kana just for these kind of things. Like you can't tell nobody nothing. You can't say nothing because they make videos about me. Oh, I'm this. I'm Jezebel. I'm this. She this. She that. Listen, I'll be all that. Praise AHAYAH, Bahashim Yashaya. Get them laws, statutes, and commandments right. Okay, how about let's start with that. Let's get these laws and statutes right. Let me say a lot of these women are getting mistreated in these camps, and they might as well leave them. Yep, there is no husband in these places. Listen, and you can't say it's like it's a catch-22. You can't even say nothing. They be ready to body slam you. You understand? They be ready to body slam. So I don't know what y'all gonna do, sisters. I'm just telling y'all. That's a whole nother thing. And I didn't want to make this about sisters talking against men or nothing like that. But it's an issue. Sis daughters of Zion are coming out. Men are, talking and proposing and, hooking up and getting married. And then they leave and you by yourself. Now you're talking to the next one. And then here comes another one. And before you know, you done married 4 and 5 different men. You're a whore, according to the Bible. And it's a sin. You know what I'm saying? So the only way you can avoid all that, man, is stop. Just stop, sisters. Stop. Just stop. Okay? And sisters be like, then they come up with all kind of stuff. Oh, she just hating. She just you can't win for losing. But I'm telling you, better get a clue real fast. You better get a clue, sisters. Yeah, I know. You can't tell the daughters of Zion that the pickings is scarce. And that's another thing, sisters be so hard up for a man, and it's not a bad thing, y'all. I'm not saying bad, like it's bad to want a husband. Every woman wants to be married for the majority of it. Every woman should have a husband. But when you start lowering your standards and, forgetting, basic common sense when it comes to, you and your self-care and taking care of you mentally, spiritually, and physically, that's an issue. If all that stuff starts to go out the window once, somebody starts, talking to you and showing you interest, that's an issue. Shalom, Sister Lawanda. You said AHAYAH first, then pray that he sent him to send you a good husband. It works well. If it takes 3 or 4 years, love message. Yes. Oh, yes. Yeah, because I think it should take time. It shouldn't be no couple of months you jumping into no relationships, sis. First of all, you don't know people. How? You got to know a person. a year or two at least. Give yourself the time. But see, the daughters of Zion have been so used to, acting so wickedly. And I have to say this, sisters, and I'm just going to be honest. We've been acting wickedly in Babylon by jumping in bed with men that you don't know. How can you give yourself to a man that you don't know? You don't know what he's going to do. He can do anything, and that's why they do anything. Because you didn't vet them. You didn't, make them show you that they were really, really serious. That's like, Elder Carl always brings up that he had to work, 14 years for Rebecca and 7 years for Leah. All right? Our forefathers, he worked hard. He knew who he wanted. He worked hard for his wife and got tricked the first time. I mean, so if a man doing all that, okay. But that was 14 years. How many of you sisters willing to make a man wait? And it was only for her father that forced that situation. That's why you need to have, your father or your mother, if your father's not around, or uncle or a brother. But half of the time, these fathers, uncle, brothers, and cousins, they don't even give a crap. They ain't standing up for the daughters of Zion, looking for our best honor, making sure nothing is right. They ain't even doing that. So, praise AHAYAH, Sister Lawanda. Thank you for that comment, sis. Yeah, you should take time. You should be praying about it. You should be fasting for a husband. You should be asking the Most High. And then when he shows up, or you think he shows up, don't be just jumping into no situation because a man shows up. That's not the way to do things. That's not the righteous way to do things. Because 9 times out of 10, it won't work out well. Fornication will never work out well. Lust will never work out well. These are most of the sins that the Bible speaks about. The Most High is not having it, sisters. Lust is a problem. Fornication is a problem. And if you operate in and being led by a lustful spirit, it's a problem in the eyes of the Most High. I don't care how you twist it and turn it and make it into something like the king, shining knight in armor, rescuing you or whatever. Brothers and sisters, lust is lust, fornication is fornication, and the Most High, he's not having it. So we can't do it. So, okay, I guess we can go in more, we can talk more about this in Nappy Hair Chronicles, about these relationships and how do you know and what should you do if someone is, offering you courtship, if a man is, pursuing you, and we can talk about stuff like that. Y'all can give y'all input, especially, my elder sisters like Sister Lawanda and Aquaf Chandel, Sister Mayana. Y'all could give y'all input on these things because the young daughters of Zion, they're looking for help, and they've been on their own in this matter for many, many years. A lot of sisters, we've been operating in America do as thou wilt. Anything has been going in Babylon, and it's still anything goes. So whatever you think, whatever your mind can conjure up, it's all good in Babylon. But we have to get up out of that shameful, wicked thinking. Stop giving yourself away to people, to just anybody who shows up. Right? Hold on. It says, so they are in other nations reckless. So they are in other nations reckless. What you mean? Then, you saying Israel coming out? Oh, definitely. Please. It's like the same thing like they in Babylon, People ain't purging. They're not cutting out the wickedness. And they definitely ain't, being by themselves. Brothers or sisters. Everybody is like hooking up. They looking for husbands and wives, and some people married. They just straight fornicating. It's definitely for over the years that I've been seeing it since Israel have been coming out of Babylon for the last, I say, 8 years now that I've seen it. That's all it's been. It's just marriage in words until they decide to break up, and then it's on to the next one. So that's all it's been, and I don't see it changing, anytime soon. Unless sisters really put a stop to it. We have to be the ones that put a stop to it, because brothers will, and they just will operate. Seems like, if you allow them, whatever that you allow them to get away with, they'll get away with. That's just right. That's just whack. Ain't no righteous nothing. Righteous talk. And that's how it was in Babylon. I knew that 20 years ago. It was like that, and ain't nothing changed. It only has gotten worse over the years, right? So, she said the devil sends people to you too. Exactly. Sometime a demon will show up. You thinking he's your knight in shining armor, and it's a demon. Because like as in the days of Noah, so will the coming of the Son of Man be. So in the days of Noah, the fallen angels were coming down and sleeping with the women. So definitely demons are showing up. And daughters of Zion, that's why I always talk about how important it is to keep your head covered. Sisters, everybody want to keep their head uncovered, be walking around, like it's a party, like it's all good. Yeah, we are in some very serious times. You do not want to come under demon possession. If you start having those dreams at night that you're having intercourse, and I've been through that before. That's why I cover my head all the time. I keep my head covered, and I don't care. My hair ain't growing as fast as I would like it to grow. My edges, are sensitive, so they be getting a little thin. But I'd rather that than having a demon. Walking around with a demon, thinking demonic thoughts, thinking it's okay, to be, having sex, jumping from man to man, and relationship. I'd rather, my hair not growing as long as I would like it to, than me, entertaining wicked demon spirits. You got to protect yourself in the spirit, sisters. That's why you always fasting and praying, and you have to keep your head covered, especially in this time. I can't tell you the last time I've had one of those kind of dreams. Years. Because I keep my head covered. I don't have those like sleep paralysis and, demonic dreams, nothing. I sleep sound through the night. Sleep and wake up. I don't even remember my dreams unless the Most High is trying to show me something in dreams, which he doesn't usually show me stuff in dreams. Other ways I receive messages from the Most High. Once in a blue, something like that will happen, like a dream or something. And then you got to question whether it's of the Most High too. So, but all that sleep paralysis and having, those weird nightmares and stuff like that, I don't get those, because I protect myself. I watch what I watch. I don't watch TV, first of all, but anything on YouTube, I don't just be watching anything that have any kind of weird vibration to it. I don't watch it. I turn it off. I will not look at too many images. You know what I'm saying? I remember years ago, it was a long time ago, maybe 8 or 7 years ago. I might have even spoken about this in a video that someone sent me a picture, like a brother sent me a picture of himself. It was just a regular picture of him standing outside or something, but it was definitely a spirit attached to it, because that night I had a dream. It was like a nightmare. And I know I don't dream like that. First of all, I don't even remember my dreams, and I don't have nightmares. So I knew that there was a spirit attached to it. So that's why, I try to warn sisters and tell y'all, be careful. Guard yourself. Guard your eyes. Guard your ears. What you're listening to. Even like, say, Bible. Like sometimes you like to listen to Bible things on YouTube. I don't listen with Bible stuff with music attached to it. Even the recordings, you got to be careful of that, just the voice. But I definitely won't listen to any Bible, anything with music attached to it. I listen to like the speaking of the word, like that, because you got to be careful, because they'll be putting stuff on, and that's why also when I, sing and I use, when I use instrumentals, I make sure I put the Most High, AHAYAH, Yashaya on everything. And I speak his name, because I know there's power in the name. And these spirits can't stay in that, in that realm, which you speak in AHAYAH's name and Yashaya's name. And that's why I'm always praising AHAYAH, Yashaya in everything I do, because the name has power. And those spirits have got to flee. So these are the ways that you kind of protect yourself in the spirit system. First of all, keeping your head covered. I know you don't want to. I know you want your hair to grow. I know you want your hair to. I know you want to look beautiful and look pretty and dainty and stuff. And sometimes this just doesn't do it for you. But it's important to fight in the spiritual realm to keep your head covered. Guard your ears. Guard what you listen to. Guard your eyes. What you watching, what you seeing, because all those things will affect us in the spiritual realm. And sometimes you don't know that you're battling in the spirit, but you are. You understand? So, these are how you always, be in the word, always reading the word, applying scriptures, always, praying. Make sure you're doing your prayer 3, 4, 5 times a day, praying over your food, saying the Lord's Prayer, learn the Lord's Prayer in Hebrew. Protect yourself in the spirit. It's important. The Hebrew language is a very powerful language. So you should learn how to pray in the Hebrew tongue. And you should know these certain prayers by heart, that you can say it when you need to. If you feel like sometimes you see something out the side of your eye, or, just little things in the spirit, you'll recognize it. You start praying. If your head is covered, or you got to run and find something to cover your head because you can't pray with your head uncovered. Now you got to, run around, find something to cover your head. Instead of that, just keep your head covered and always be prepared to pray in the spiritual realm. Fight for yourself. You understand? Sometimes people, they go days without even praying. They forget to pray. We can't be doing that. But okay, guys, I've been talking. I gotta go. I give all glory and praise to AHAYAH, Yashaya. I hope this information was feasible and it resonate in your spirit. That these are some of the things that you need to know. Putting you up on game, or just how to navigate, whether it's outside of Babylon. But it starts with you preparing inside of Babylon as well. But the goal is that, how to protect yourself. Because let me just add, y'all know about these foreign men. Y'all know about Jordanian. We're in Jordan. So these are very nice men, very good looking men. So, if you have an issue with lust, fornication, this and that, it may be an issue for you dealing with. Everywhere you go, it's men everywhere. The women don't come outside. So you're subjected, to a lot of men, and they're very helpful. They're very flirtatious. They're men. So sisters, you have to be on guard. You have to put that lust demon and that fornication demon under subjection, so that you are not out here lusting after these men. These men will come on to you, help you, be overly helpful, more than what we're used to in America. These men are attentive. The fact that you're an American, they don't care how old you are, how young you are, they don't care. So if you are battling with those kind of spirits, fornication, lust, where you don't, you can't say no when men are coming on to you. All those are issues, sisters, and you need to get those kind of spirits under subjection. Okay? Because these men will be up in your face and they will be trying to help you, and and you seem very vulnerable, and they will help. But for one thing, you must know we are not to get involved in that kind of way, you know, with Gentile men. And some sisters will be like, we don't know if they Gentile or not. We don't know what Judah, we are, throughout the four corners of the earth. And they start coming up with all this nonsense and this kind of logic because that lustful demon inside them wants to be fed. But sisters, you must grab a hold of that and get yourself under, subjection and not be led by, the demonic spirits of fornication and lust. Okay, so I had to put that out there too. And we could talk about this more, in AHAYAH Chronicles, but I really did want to put that out there about, coming out of Babylon and being a woman in these foreign countries dealing with men, lusting after you, men helping you, trying to get at you, because they looking to just get married for a passport. What's the name? So they'll do whatever. They'll be very nice, very helpful, that will not be an issue. But you better understand that we cannot entertain these Gentile men. Don't even put it in your mind, sisters, okay? Just don't even put it in your mind. Just block it out. Get it together, girl. Okay? So I give all glory and praise to AHAYAH, Bahashim Yashaya, Wakwadash. Thank y'all for watching me. I pray you all are well. I pray you are making your way out of Babylon. I see you soon, brothers and sisters. We will be in the wilderness soon. Okay? And maybe there's some things I think I probably should be saying more about preparation. When you come out, I've said that we should come to a man first, prepare, get the things that you need for the wilderness before you start trying to go into the wilderness. Listen, brother, it will be a process of us going into the wilderness. How we're going to do it is going to be structured. We're not going to just be flowing into the wilderness. It's not going to happen like that. We are going to do it in a certain way. AHAYAH will put it all together. You need to first come into a man and start to prepare. If you need to get a job, then that should be an issue. That should be the first thing. Your order of business, finding a job, getting your money situation straight so you can get the things that you're going to need in the wilderness. And then once you have that things, we'll start to move people, little by little into certain areas. That's basically, in a nutshell, how it will go. So just in case I didn't cover that, we can talk about it more. If y'all have more questions about it, we can go into it. But that's just a synopsis. First, you come into a man. That's the city area. You can blend in well. You can get some things done. Get you a place. Get you a job. Start to prepare. Put things together. And then we'll start to move. After we are coming under one accord, we are all on the same doctrine. We're going to have to figure that one out, brothers and sisters. Get into that GOCC Academy. Get the understanding so that we can start to work and move together. Praise AHAYAH for brothers and for sisters. I was talking about how the brothers are when it comes to that. It's a lot of ego, a lot of pride, a lot of arrogance going on. But aside from that, if brothers can start to purge through those feelings, and get those feelings under subjection, and get some self-control in the anger management area, and not feeling that they can't be taught by another man. It's a lot of stuff going on with these men. But if they can get past that and they can start to go and take that academy, and we can start to get on one accord and start to, move, this thing can move pretty smoothly. I think it can happen. I believe it, because AHAYAH said we're going to be in the wilderness and we're going to be at peace. He did say that. It's in the scriptures. He said we're going to be at peace, brothers and sisters. So somehow, some way, we're going to work it out. And it ain't going to be us all calling on different gods trying to figure that out, because he's a jealous power and he ain't having it. Okay? So we're going to have to block that one out. We're going to have to learn how to, come under subjection for what the Most High wants. And I'm excited and I can't wait for it to happen. Praise the higher Bahashem Yashaya. Love y'all. See y'all soon. Shalom. I'm going.